Welcome everybody back to Blue Collar Startup here. We're with Bill Tansey. If you listen to the main episode, you are now at the YouTube special segment. We're talking about where to spend your time in a chaotic business. We got just 3 questions for Bill here that we're going to bang out real quick. First question, Bill, give us a real world example, without naming names, of course, of a business that looked like a disaster from the outside, but had 1 or 2 things working really well that you could build on. And what did that process look like?
So I've always been able to find good things to build on, first off. So, and I think that's really important. I think that's important for anybody listening to know. So when you're in it, when you're running the business, a lot of times by the time people come to me, I mean, their hair's on fire and they're, everything's a mess. This sucks. I'm ready to quit. Like I've had several of those kinds of, new business developments, if you will. So we can always find good things to build on. I think that's really important. And when we look at it objectively, those become evident. An example of recently, I was working with a client, and they don't offer a product for sale; they offer a service for sale. So, and also it's a transactional, definitely blue collar service. And if I say too much more, they or other clients may be able to piece together who it is. So I want to be sensitive to.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, I want to be sensitive to that. But you know, they're really, really messy inside, like really messy inside. They have a lot of the challenges that we've talked about, not like they have 1 or 2, but they've got all 6 or a dozen kind of thing. They're roughly 50% net margin in a service business. Like, Derek runs a service business, 50%, not gross, net margin. Like they're printing money in this business. So you talk about finding something good. Derek, how hard would it be to have 50% net margin in the service business? I'd imagine you'd think that's pretty hard.
I'm in the wrong business.
Right.
Me
Right.
too.
Right. Yeah, that's a few of us. I mean, they are printing money, right? So anyway, you can always find good things to build on, and that's an example of one where, man, they are messy, um and it's so messy that it's literally destroying the leadership team. But they are printing money, so kind of regrounding in what's going on and figuring out how to leverage what you can leverage, to make change is where I come in and try and contribute. But I think most of the people that you guys talk to that run businesses, and most of the businesses in that small to mid-size category, they tend to kind of err in the other way, right? They tend to kind of fake an outside appearance, if you will, or the false bravado of success. Remember, the people that run these businesses, a lot of them are predominant figures in their local community. They're dressed nice, they have a nice car. Everybody knows when they're in the coffee shop and they leave, they go, "Oh, that's so and so. They own this," or they're at the charity gala or whatever the case may be. They're predominant figures, and I think, more often than not, those folks tend to try and put on a good exterior. And maybe the bigger lesson from your question is that for people that are listening or feel like they're struggling in their own business, don't think that those people that own businesses that you see around town are 100% squared away in their business. They never are. I mean, never, in like capital letters. They never are. When someone like myself gets involved and sees what's going on, or anybody else involved closely in the business, they have challenges. They have significant challenges. So they may be the well-off person around town that's well respected and like I said, looked up to, but don't think that equates to a 100% squared away operation or business, and don't accidentally set that as the expectation for yourself as you're growing your business.
Okay. Question number 2. And I really like this question. I'm really looking forward to your answer on this one.
You did a good job with these questions, Mike, I gotta say.
Thank you. Thank you. What can I say, guys? I got a gift. Uh, if someone's watching this and they've got 30 minutes today, right now, to do something that actually moves the needle on getting their businesses under control, what do you tell them to do with that time?
All right, I'm going to try and do this one rapid fire.
Fix my business in 30 minutes, Bill.
Yeah, just like your question. So rapid fire answer. rewind this podcast to the early part. I think it was your first question, maybe your second. Rewind to the main podcast to your question that I started talking about problem definition. Re-listen to the problem definition segment and go ahead and define the problem that is most bothersome to you in your business today. And then once it's defined, figure out who you need to partner with or work with to fix it.
Okay. Now I'm going to do that after the show. Number
I'll
3.
turn my ringer off. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'll be calling. I'll show up at your house. I know where you live, bro. So you have built a career around operational excellence, but what's something about running a chaotic small business that you have genuine respect for? Something that the system and process world sometimes misses or undervalues?
I think in big business, the businesses that I came from before going on my own, for example, in big business, I think there's an illusion of security. And I think the refusal to trade freedom for that security is something I see and I really value across many of these small business owners that we're talking about and that we all engage with in our jobs. So I'd say that's the thing that stands out to me, is that refusal to trade freedom for security in their day-to-day life. I mean, it can't be more fundamental than that. In the way you make your living is something that's that can't really be taught, that you either kind of have it or you don't. Yeah, I don't know. Does that answer the question?
No, it does. I always tell people when they don't own their own business and they ask about they say oh, that must be nice to own your own business, those statements. And I'm like, listen, owning your own business is like jumping out of a plane and packing your parachute while you fall, putting it on, and then hoping when you pull that ripcord, the chute comes out and deploys properly. Like, that's what business ownership's like. You're always one bad decision from being out of business, being broke, not being able to make payroll, whatever it is. Like, you're one decision away all the time. It's scary shit.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned those that must be nice comments. I feel like those always find their way in one way or another, and I try and be polite to that person and move on as fast as I can, and then pat myself on the back for not being that guy. Because anybody that has that must be nice comment, they got to go back and do some major self-reflection and have a better kind of global view of what's going on around them and the choices they're making. Because yeah, and that, again, that's probably a whole nother discussion about choices and choices we've all made, and whether or not we were conscious when we were making those choices and where it landed us, right? So yeah, that's an interesting discussion too.
Bill, I'm going to have Taylor copy the next question and your answer and put it into the first episode as well, because I forgot to ask you to tell people if they want to talk to you or learn more about you, where do they find you?
Right. Yeah, I love it. I didn't even, so the rapid fire, I was having trouble keeping up. I didn't even realize that
I know, I'm boom, 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 tactical, baby.
So thanks. Yeah, the classic way, William, in parentheses, Bill Tansey Jr. on LinkedIn, or my website, theopexshop.com, or old-fashioned now, email bill@theopexshop.com to get me via email. And always welcome opportunities to talk to people, even if you're not sure. Coffee's cheap. You can buy me a coffee or a virtual coffee, and we can meet online. It's easy.
Well, I'm buying you a coffee tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's right. Yeah, and actually, and a chocolate chip cookie, because they've got Diva chocolate chip cookies in town, just to be clear. So
I didn't know I was buying a chocolate chip cookie, man. I gotta.
I guess you are. You can't have a coffee there.
That's in the budget.
Yeah, I'll give him a shout out since Gordon's a friend of mine as well. But we're meeting at 9 miles east in Saratoga Springs. If you don't know, now you know. A coffee and a chocolate chip cookie from 9 miles east.
They got great stuff.
Yeah.
Bill, your babes, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
If you're listening on the audio version, you should jump over to YouTube just so you can see Bill's powerful mustache that we will continue to talk about as long as he has it.
Yeah, and please leave comments. I'd like to know thumbs up or thumbs down on the mustache. It's very polarizing, apparently.
Apparently, yes. Bill, thanks for joining us. D, great to see you, of course.
You too, guys.
Thanks for listening. Appreciate it, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And that wraps up another episode of Blue Collar Startup. A big thank you to our sponsors, 5 Towers Media, Daigle Cleaning Systems, Daigle Fire Solutions, The Michaels Group, Martin Electric, MLB Construction, Bonaccio Construction, Peoplease, and Catamount Consulting for making this podcast possible. And thank you for tuning in. If you learned something or felt inspired, connect with us on our website at bluecollarstartup.io or email us at hardhat.bcsu@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your questions and topic ideas. Help us spread the word by sharing the show and following us on social media for updates. Until next time, keep on building, keep on dreaming, and keep hustling like your future depends on it.